Hey, I'm Rich Jason, and welcome to another Masters of the Universe, the board game, the Clash for Eternia expansion, Assault on Castle Grayskull. Besides this being some definitely fantastic old school artwork, this is a new scenario type mode to play in the game. So like the other expansions that have been available, add just more characters. Like tokens and things like that, new minions, stuff like that. This is going to add a brand new gameplay mode, the assault mode, basically. So we're going to kind of look at what we have here. So we're going to have a rule book here, which will go over some of the different stuff. So it's going to have all our different components. It's going to add two new types of cards, attacker cards, and defender cards. So there'll be some miniature cards we'll look at. So the player that's playing the attacking, whoever's attacking the castle, gets to have one of these cards. You assign one for, there's four of them. They get one for each of their characters. So usually the player character. The player characters get the attacking cards. And then the defenders go to the controller side. And they get access to all four cards, but they give out one immediately. And then every time they hit escalation, they get to add an additional defender card. So as they get weaker. And then the actual castle will have some different modes and stuff in here. It has 4 different sides of health. Front, left, right, and the drawbridge. You have to try and do stuff to destroy each one. Different areas you can actually attack on. So like this one here is showing impenetrable, so you can't go around the back side of this castle. They have cliff spots, which will have certain different terrain elements. And then the white spots are actually the parts on Castle Grayskull, which your characters can then stand upon. And then on this side showing the attack spaces. So if you want your left side, you can attack up to there or that spot. Right flank, purple ones. Orange ones, so you can like crawl up on top and attack these individual locations here. Melee, you have to be within one space. Range ball, range rolls, so on and so forth. And then there is a mode at the end for playing this. But again, you can always then do your own, incorporate your own stuff in there later, add different types of rules and that. Because like they have different terrain. You can always use different terrain, different stuff each direction. But definitely a unique idea. So we'll go ahead and look at what we have in here for this set. So first of all, we're going to get is actually really fun. We're going to get some new minions. So if you just bought the base set and then you bought this set only, these are the only two ones you bought, you can buy any of the other characters expansion, you'll get another set of minions to play as, which just give you some different options. So for the Masters Heroic side, we have Randor's Guard. So of course, Randor being King Randor. And we have 2 different models there, and we'll get 4 of each for a total of 8, like all the rest. Cannot become dazed while adjacent to a friendly character, gains +1 defense, and bludgeon 2. So that's really fun. So as long as he sticks around these guys, they can become dazed and they gain extra bonuses. And a friendly character can just be another one. They can hang out with each other. Let's get a little bit closer look at those characters. I know these pink ones are a little bit harder to see some of the details on. We have one that's just kind of standing there like the artwork, just hanging out. And then we have another one. I like how different they are than the Eternian warriors from the base game, who look like basically like man-at-arms. These guys have a very different feel to them. Which makes them really, really unique and interesting. Alright, then for the evil side, we have Skeleton. Now, this is kind of interesting because I would have almost expected these guys to be with Skeletor in the base set, and then the Hoverbots to be in like a different adjacent set. So that's kind of neat. So these guys have 1 health, 1 defense, and then they have Winged Assault. Push Skeleton up to 1 space before or after performing this attack. So you're kind of like advanced minions. So you have like regular minions. These 2 are kind of like advanced minions. And then of course you have your actual elite minions, which are summonable. Yes, if you want minions that are a little bit tougher, or a little bit, not tougher, because they have the same health, but they have some extra abilities. These guys are definitely ones you're going to look for. Yeah, so they're like horned-faced, purple-furred, winged bat creatures with a mace and a knife. And then they can move before or after, so they either can swoop in and attack or back out and attack. So crazy, right? Alright. So now we're going to look at some different cards we have. We have 3 terrain cards. We have the Force Shield, which we will have tokens for. So I didn't go over the tokens, but we'll have some tokens here. They're double-sided. We have 3 of those. So tokens, this is one of the abilities some of the attackers get to use. So when a model is in this space's attack, they gain +2 defense to that attack. Then roll a die. On a range, remove the Force Shield token. So that's cool. We've had other such. We've had things that have contained people. This is a defense shield, so that's really a neat idea. It'd be also interesting if you could incorporate this in other games as well. The next one we have is the Tunnel, which we have 3 of those. Now these are hex tiles, so these actually become more of a terrain. And it says, in a tunnel token space, models gain action. Move to any other space containing a tunnel token. So this is a cool way to get around the board. The only other 2 other than characters that have extra movement stats to be able to move around is a few characters have teleport, which will let you transport someone within 4 spaces up to 4 spaces away with you, or some characters have Mermaidy, I believe it was from the She-Ra set, has the ability to transport between water tiles, or is that Merman? One of the 2 of them, maybe both, have the ability to transport through water, so they can go from wherever the water tiles are being placed. So this is kind of a neat way to give other characters a unique ability like that. And our last terrain is the Battle Ladder. Models in the space may climb up the cliffs and ignore terrain penalty. So, you can get up the cliffs in the game and ignore their specific penalty. And we do have a cliff terrain. So we will have a token for that as well right there. You can see the other 4 tokens we have around there are different equipment, which we'll get into. This is, let's see if I can zoom back out here. Move that back. So the other 2 tiles we have here, I'll just quickly show off the rest of these. We have the actual cliffs right here that go on the board, add a new terrain type. We have the Jawbridge, which attaches so you can actually have it up or down. Then the other 2 sheets we have are actual Castle Grayskull. So we have the left half, which has part of the front, and then we have the right half, and then we have the left half, which has the other half of it, which has cliffs around it, and then we have the HP tokens. But these are, you notice the castles are not double-sided, and the gate has the main front has an extra 10 health. And I'll show you how those look once we're done going over these cards here. So we have the cliffs. I'm going to zoom up on this one. So it says, here it's showing where the cliffs are. Outside of the castle, right in front of it, and some extra spots. Roll +1 attack die when attacking Castle Grayskull or when attacking enemies outside of this terrain. So basically, you gain a height advantage type of thing. Terrain penalties for each level. In the red areas, to kind of get up on the front, models must pay 2 spaces of movement to enter or leave this terrain. Yellow models on the red must pay 2 spaces of movement to enter or leave this terrain. Models not on the red must spend 1 action to enter it. So the outside of those cliffs are a little bit rougher. And they do kind of even on the picture here, they're a little bit different shade of color, so you can kind of tell they're a little bit different. Then we have, on the yellow, only accessible to models on the yellow and must pay 2 spaces of movement to enter this terrain. So, if you want to come away from the outside, you have to pay 2 to get up on the red. models on the red must pay 2 movement to enter or leave this terrain. So yeah, you still have to pay your two to get on there from the red even, so it kind of equals the same. But if you're coming from the either straight from the bottom here or from wrapping around to the outside, you can get up on that yellow a little bit easier, or on the sides up here you can get up there a little bit easier. But then that white can only be entered from that yellow, so you have to climb up to get up into the like jaws. Alright, let's look at the actual pieces of Grayskull, because they're also listed as terrain. We have Grayskull front, so it starts with 20 health. If destroyed, the flag and the training dummy are also destroyed. So we did see in the book here, mentioning of the front, as it says, the dummy and the flag are part of the yellow, so they're part of the front. So it kind of links those together. We have the left flank. If destroyed, the laser turrets are also destroyed. And these two also have extra defense. Grayskull right flank, which also has 10 health. When destroyed, the weapons rack upgrade is also destroyed. And then finally, we have the Grayskull drawbridge. The drawbridge defense cannot be reduced or ignored unless it is from the demolition skill. Well, the drawbridge HP token is higher than 1. The front gains +1 defense. This cannot be reduced or ignored. Drawbridge can be attacked from the same spaces as the Grayskull front. When reduced to 0, place the open jaw token on the corresponding space. Yeah, it's just kind of interesting. So you're just supposed to attack it normally, like pretend it's there, and then when you defeat it, you actually put the tile on there to show like, hey, we've opened up the door to Grayskull. So that's kind of interesting. Alright, then we have our defender cards. We'll look at those guys next. They're the big ones. So these are going to be the extra tiles that the controller character gets to play with, because they're the defender. And it says, at the start of the scenario, controller chooses 1 defender card. Every time the escalation threshold increases, controller can choose one more defender card to start using immediately. So you don't have access to all of these off the bat. So we have the laser turret, which is a token on the board, looks just like that. So there's our tokens again. And they are double-sided, so it doesn't matter which way you flip them. Laser turret free action once per round. When enemy model activates, perform 1 laser turret action targeting them. Does a 3 dice with range. Grayskull results generate 2 successes but no power. Cool. So basically, yeah, you get this, and then anyone gets near it, it's going to target them each turn. We have on the other side, we have the weapons rack. Free reaction once per round. When a friendly character attacks, their attack rolls +1 die, and that character can use the attack boost for free. That's pretty crazy. So it boosts up all their attacks just using a free attack boost. We have the training dummy. Free reaction once per round. When a friendly character activates, they may heal 2 or gain 2 power. Nice. And then finally we have the flag. Free reaction once per round. At the start of a friendly activation, spawn 2 minions adjacent to the drawbridge of the castle, or along any border of the battlefield. Oh, cool. So they can start outside, or they can basically either coming out of the castle, or they can be coming from outside the field entering. That's actually a really neat ability too. So again, what you have to remember though, you only get 1 of these immediately, and then as you hit your 3 activation points, you will gain the other 3. So you will actually get all 4 of these, because you start with 1, and then you start at 0 escalation. You'll hit 1, 2, and 3. So by the time you hit the last one, you get all 4 of them eventually. You just gotta decide what order works best for your gameplay mode. Then the last set of cards we have are the attacker cards. So we get some little tiny ones like this. Now you equip these to a character. So it says attacker cards. Our equipment, the aid the player in taking down Castle Grayskull. At the start of the scenario, choose 1 to assign 1 attacker card to each player character. So if you have 4 characters, you get 4 cards. Each character can only have 1 card. Hint, try to Try to optimize synergy between attacker cards and characters, such as assigning Demolition to a character that has high damage output. So here we have the Demolition. It ignores the defense on Castle Grayskull. Free bonus action. Once per turn. You may place one Battle Ladder token in your space. Only place it adjacent to the cliffs. So that's what's neat is you have this guy who can now then take that ladder, put it next to the cliff so he can just get up there for free. Because if we look at the ladder again, let's pull that one back out. May climb the miles in the space of the ladder may ignores terrain penalties. So you don't have to spend all that penalty trying to get up there. So that's definitely a fun idea. You can just ignore that to get around it. Then we have the Shield Specialist. Begin the game with 3 Force Shield tokens. Free bonus action. Place 1 Force token shield within 2 spaces. So that's definitely cool. So you get a free bonus every turn. You can place them, but now it says begin with 3 shield tokens. So my guess is you only get 3 total. So then after you've spent all 3 of them, you don't have them anymore. So they're not. So like if someone breaks them, they don't get to keep using them. Also, they're not movable. So you gotta drop them somewhere. So it's probably good for like a ranged character, but not for like a melee character who's gonna keep trying to move in closer. Our third one is the Tunneler. Begin the game with 3 tunnel tokens. Immediately place 1 tunnel token on any empty space on the battlefield at least 3 spaces away from Grayskull. Free bonus action. Place 1 tunnel token within 2 spaces, or use 1 tunnel token as a bonus action. So after you place your tokens, you'll just use it as a bonus action. Yeah, that could be helpful if like you're way off in the corner. You like drop one on your turn. You could place one near your spawn point. So if you die, you can spawn and then tunnel right through it, right up to 3 spaces away from the battlefield. The only problem is if that's the only 2 locations, the other players are gonna know where to kind of stand there and attack. And then we have Commander, finally. Free bonus action, spawn 1 minion in your adjacent space, then activate up to 2 minions within 4 spaces. Free attack bonus boost, once per round, when a friendly character within 4 spaces performs an attack, roll 1 die. Cool, so you summon some minions and use them around. That is a really neat effect as well. It's also really fun about this entire mode is because ideally you'd think it should be, He-Man's Master Team defending Castle Grayskull against Skeletor's team. But if you start buying all the expansions, you can definitely switch that all up. You could have Skeletor deciding he doesn't want Hordak to get in there, or Skeletor has control of the castle and he's defending it against He-Man, trying to retake it back over. Or you can mix and match stuff. Skeletor and He-Man are trying to stop King Hiss and She-Ra from taking over. Bunch of different options you can do there. So really fun. Plus, extra minions are always cool. I'm going to pause for a sec, and then we're going to lay down the map. Alright, so I just threw this down on my playmat, which is the neoprene Kickstarter playmat, that, it's the same size as the board and everything, but I just had this laying out. But yeah, I built Grayskull, so this is basically what it looks. Now, obviously, according to the rules, it should be all the way back, which is only 1 extra space back farther than I have it. So it doesn't leave a lot of extra room if you're playing left to right. So I just want to look at the book. Am I supposed to do it that way, or are you supposed to do it the long way? Yeah, so you can see on the board here is that it's more or less like your characters. So if they're on one side or the other, you're either going to have to kind of come up onto the sides, and if you want to go through the front, you're really going to have to go through this cliff. Now, there's no reason why you couldn't, I don't see why you couldn't do it the other way. Turn it and put it this way, and then have like more of a frontal assault. I'll actually turn it on the map to see how well that would work, but this is how they have it positioned. So there's only like 1 gap you can get around without having to go over the cliffs. That's where that ladder can even become, the tunnels are going to become more powerful, because you could, like I have set up, I have 1 here, and I have 1 over here, so you can use that to get guys across the board without having to keep going up and over. Now I have the ladder here where this guy could then climb up here really easy, which is fine for attacking the front, but if he wants to get down, he's have to spend an extra movement point. And then there's also like the cliffs over here. And there's parts of the castle, like they can stand on the outside. I have the tokens in here for the different things. Now, I do wish they were maybe a little bit different color, because they do kind of blend in a little bit. But that's alright. And then you have the jaw, the drawbridge, which you can drop down. Once you open that, to kind of show like the drawbridge is open. So now characters can get up in there. So that's definitely an interesting thing there. Alright, so then I wanted to see, I said, what would be the interesting thing if you had the castle going the long way? So you had a big, giant, open area in front and, like, small areas on the side. In most realistic ways, it won't work. Because of the way these hexes are, is you have a point on the top and a point on the bottom. And then your flat sides here. So if you try and line this up, your points are now pointing the wrong direction. So it won't work directly that way. I'm wondering, could you do it at an angle? You could, however, do it at an angle if you wanted to. You'd have to have the cliffs in there, though. Will this fit? Yeah, so you could do it like that as an angle. I mean, you could even, since you can't penetrate this back, you could even move this back a little bit more and have them technically be off the board if you wanted to. But then this might give a different range, because you could almost back this up to... That's as far as you could realistically back it up so that these tiles are still accessible. But you can even back that up a little bit far, like one more if you really wanted to. To then make that so that you can still access that space, you know. It would block off some of the tiles on that side, so it would make maybe that side harder. But that's definitely something you could do to change up the gameplay if you wanted to. Could also potentially swap the cliffs around if you wanted to, and make it easier, like change the rules up, like, hey, you have to get up on here, you know, and then go into the next area, and then these ones are harder to get into, but make it so that you have to enter this way. Might make it a little bit more challenging, so to get up on the sides, it costs a lot more. So there's different gameplays, but that's really all you can do for, like, modular for this. There's not a whole lot different. You could potentially just get rid of the cliffs if you don't want to use them. Play a different mode with just that, but there's no other modular way to, like, move that around. It would also be interesting in this mode to add the... add some of the other cards into the other modes, just as your own gameplay reasons, you know, because you could definitely add the shields and the tunnels into any other game. Just give the one player, like, extra abilities, or, like, maybe one player gets one player gets the other. Free extra thing to get 3 of them to use. You could maybe play around, make the mission a little bit more difficult. The ladder, you could, if you change the rules, I guess, so instead of it being cliffs, you said rocks, or if you just included the cliffs somewhere else in the game, like maybe in between some other terrain, you could have give someone the ladder as well, but hey, now you have a way to get up on these cliffs easier, and then maybe say, hey, they can pick the cliffs up, or ladder up when they're on the cliffs, and move them to the other side, if they want to ignore them extra penalties. So that could be something different to give, like, height advantage. Yeah, then the other ones, the equipment and stuff, the flag and the training dummy and stuff, you could add them in any other game too, and be like, hey, we can drop these down somewhere on the field, and as long as they're in there, you know, we have these abilities, but then maybe have them, if they take 1 damage, they're removed. Something like that. So you could modularize, home rule your game to add this extra stuff in there. But yeah, definitely an interesting new mode on the game. Plus some new minions, which is always fun as well. I'm surprised they didn't add the sorcerer in here as like an exclusive extra character. I wonder though if they would have thought they would have had to add a character to each side, and who do you really add for the villain version of that. But it would have made sense to have her in this set, but she came with the stretch goals instead. Alright, so that's what we have for Assault on Grayskull. Hope you guys enjoyed this. See you guys later. Bye.